Welcome to Larry the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, a review of the new documentary, Randy Rhoads, Reflections of a Guitar Icon. This documentary is directed by Andrew Rhoads, and it has as the narrator Tracy Guns. I've talked often about Randy Rhoads on the channel here, how he is one of my favorite guitar players, and I've read a ton of things on Randy and every available interview and clip of him, live footage, whatever is out there. I'm totally into Randy Rhoads. So of course I had to watch this. It's available on-demand services, and I watched it through Amazon Prime. So I think it's available through various pay streaming services. I think I paid $7.99 or $9.99 to own it. You know, you can rent it for a few days for like $3.99 or something with Amazon Prime. I really enjoyed it. I think as a hardcore Randy Rhoads fan, there wasn't a whole lot that I didn't already know from this. Most of the pictures I had seen before. Most of the clips are taken from interviews that I've already heard already. Like there's some audio clips of Randy talking, and I've heard that before. There's clips of, even Eddie Van Halen talking about Randy that it's all pretty much stuff that I've heard before. So as a hardcore fan, there really wasn't much new, but it was put together very nicely. I did really like a lot of the pictures and everything. Again, I had seen most of them, but there were a couple of pictures that I had never seen before. Maybe they were from like photo shoots, pictures of Randy on stage that I recognized some of the shots, but then they were maybe just different poses or something. The movie is about an hour and a half long, and I'd say about the first hour of it is focused on his early years with Quiet Riot. Now, a lot of the footage, I'm going to say 2/3 of the footage, is taken from there was a DVD that came with this book. This book's called Randy Rhoads, The Quiet Riot Years. Very early in my channel, I did a review of this book, and I talked about how awesome this book is. Now, when I made that video early on, it was the first book review I ever did on my channel. And I said that the book was by Ron Sobel, which is, if you read on the spine here, it says Ron Sobel. But on the inside of the book, it credits written by Ron Sobel with Andrew Klein. The senior editor is Peter M. Margolis, and the graphic designer Danny Anderson. I got a lot of angry comments that I didn't mention Andrew Klein. In fact, I got a lot of private messages that were downright vicious towards me. It was rather disheartening. It was one of the first videos I made where I got really attacked about something, and it's very confusing because when I look up information on this book, it says the book is written by Ron Sobel, but I'm reading to you from the inside here. It says Ron Sobel and Andrew Klein. This is an amazing book. Unfortunately, I think it's out of print. The pictures in here, I believe, are taken by Ron Sobel, and he was a photographer that was friends with Kevin Dubrow, and he just took pictures, and any videos you see of Quiet Riot from this era are done by Ron Sobel. So this came with the DVD, and the DVD is just absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, I think this is out of print now, but if you can find used copies of this with the DVD, get it, because the DVD is absolutely amazing. And a lot of the DVD only really covers Randy during the Quiet Riot years. It talks about him leaving for Ozzy, but the DVD basically ends, right when he leaves for Ozzy, and he unfortunately, tragically passes away. 99% of that DVD is about the Quiet Riot years. Now, they use a lot of footage, almost all the interview footage that you see with Randy's friends from the Quiet Riot years, his guitar roadie, people that were around the band at that time, interviews with Ron Sobel himself. They're all taken from that DVD. So if you're wondering what that DVD is like, a big chunk of the early part of this new documentary is taken from that DVD. So that was a little disappointing for me because, again, I I've watched that DVD that came with this book. I've watched it like a million different times. But again, it puts everything in a nice order. Tracy Gunn's narration is really good and sort of pieces all the history together. And where the DVD that came with this book, Randy Rhoads' Quiet Riot Years, ends. You know, it talks about him joining Ozzy, but it doesn't really get into anything with the Ozzy stuff. This documentary, the last like about 30 minutes of it or so, are about his time with Ozzy, and it's got some audio from Ozzy during at the time. There's lots of things from Rudy Sarzo, and so it puts together a really nice timeline. If you're somebody that only kind of knows a little bit about Randy Rhoads, or you don't know anything about Randy Rhoads, this is a fantastic place to go because it's going to give you all his history, his mother and the Musonia music school, and Randy coming up through that, meeting Kevin, starting Quiet Riot, the audition with Ozzy, him going off with Ozzy, and then unfortunately the tragic plane crash that took Randy's life, as well as Rachel Youngblood, who was a seamstress, did their makeup and hair, I think, with the band, and of course the pilot of the plane, Andrew Aycock. So overall, it's great. Unfortunately, they weren't able to use. You hear a lot of Quiet Riot music through it because they got the permission to do that. You don't hear any Ozzy music through it, so they sort of make up for it by there's some guitar playing in the background that sounds Ozzy, Randy like guitar playing, but that's sort of unfortunate. And I understand. I'm sure it was like a cost thing. They just weren't able to afford to use, Ozzy music was probably just too expensive. But one thing that I did really like as the credits were rolling at the end, it had some video clips of people playing Randy parts from the internet, playing D, playing Crazy Train, just playing different little bits and pieces of his solo. So overall, it's a really great documentary. If you're somebody like me that's hardcore, it's still fun to sit and watch and see all those pictures and hear the story told again. You're not going to really probably hear anything that you don't know already. If you're somebody that doesn't have, know a whole lot about Randy, I think you're going to really enjoy it. You're going to learn a lot. There's interviews. His brother is in there, talking, Kelly Rhoads, talking about Randy and everything. There's some audio with his mother and everything. So it's really enjoyable. The pictures are great. If you can pick up this book, Randy Rhoads' Quiet Riot Years, I highly, highly recommend it because it is just absolutely amazing. The pictures in it are amazing. Tells you the whole story of Randy during those Quiet Riot years, and the DVD that comes with it is also amazing. So, all right, there you go. Randy Rhoads, Reflections of a Guitar Icon. Let me know if any of you guys have seen it out there and what your thoughts are on it. And until we see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.